Hey guys, it's Kyle here. I'm coming at you tonight with a late night quick solo pod. Dunk was unfortunately unable to join me this week. We're going to give him a little bit of a break because he's dealing with some personal family matters that he needs to attend to. Spoiler alert, don't want to say too much, but it's exciting good news for Dunk. So don't get too worried about him, but I want to let him tell that story whenever he manages to get jumped back on the pod next. So tonight, it's just going to be me. I'm going to be doing what might be my favorite activity in the world, and that is listening to myself talk. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about some stuff that we've been observing here over the last the last week or so. Pretty simple thing. We haven't really talked too much about it. And I kind of just want to put some content out there and just let you guys hear how I feel about it. And I would love to hear your interactions and how you feel about my opinions, how you feel about these individual events that have been announced, for the CrossFit Games. So first things first, it's probably a little over a week and a half ago now, Dave Castro announced the first individual event of the 2021 NOBULL CrossFit Games. And that first event was described, I think verbatim here, long swim, longer paddle. So first initial reactions, I loved this test in the year 2015. Not my favorite. I think it's a good test. I think it's a valid test, but it's just like, come on, man. How many different iterations of run, swim, paddle are we going to see in various combinations? Can we get a little bit more creativity here? Okay. We have the resources, we have the setup, just a swim with a different type of movement, and honestly, even just a swim, I would be fine with, honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing swimming twice in the CrossFit Games. Just let's just see something different than this, right? It's just going to be another iteration of this. We can pretty much already chalk up who's going to be in the top 5 for both this event for the men's and the women's side. We've just seen enough. And for it to be the first event of the CrossFit Games, I get it. We normally lead the CrossFit Games off with sort of a long grinder endurance type of events. But it's a little anticlimactic. So I wasn't totally psyched about it. And then, as soon as we see the announcement, that's when we start seeing all the paddle boards come out for everybody. Like, I'm no expert on this, but maybe a paddle board should have been something that you would have seen, at least been implementing on your rest days, like a dynamic recovery day, something. But yeah, not my favorite one. But let's move on, because I don't want to harp too much on that one. It's a valid test. We're going to see stuff like this. It's fine, whatever. It's just like watching paint dry at this point. Second one, complete other side of the spectrum. So we had this announcement from New Girls, Max Greenfield. Side note, Max Greenfield, if you're out there listening, would love to have you as a future podcast guest. Expect a future DM from me. Love you putting the content out there. Let's get that dude on the demo team. So I'll go ahead and condense the video that was put up by Max Greenfield because it was a little wordy, but we had basically all he could say was sled pull. As I think with the motions he gave us, it implied a rope, like sort of sled drag that we've seen numerous times at the games. Pig flip, the pig is back. 42 muscle ups. He could not specify which kind of muscle up. Pig flip, sled pull. So sort of like your up the mountain, down the mountain kind of chippery type of workout. But I guess this would technically be considered a triplet. First reaction, super excited for so many reasons. One, I tell people all the time, the fewer barbells in the games, to me, the better. I think the barbell is an implement that is a little bit too heavily relied on in CrossFit competition. I think there are more diverse, interesting, and holistic methods for testing strength. And I don't think we see nearly enough odd object work. So the fact that we're seeing a sled pull and a pig flip together, I think is absolutely fantastic in terms of the validity of the test and finding ways to test your strength beyond a barbell and maybe the occasional heavy kettlebell deadlift, right? Sled pull is one of my favorite movements to see. It's one of my favorite movements to do, and one of my favorite movements to see at the games, because I think a beautiful thing about what this workout is going to be for us is it's going to tell a story. Okay. We're going to see the sled move. We're going to watch as that pig advances like a checker piece down the field. And then we're going to watch 42 muscle ups. We're going to get to that in a second. This workout's going to end with watching that pig flip and seeing that sled advance. So it's going to be an easy view for maybe the casual fan or the person that's new to the CrossFit Games to watch it and see, oh, this person is clearly winning. So I think it's a fantastic workout, great movements, fun movements. It'd be a really fun one to test my scaled version myself. Looks like a really cool workout. The 42 muscle up number, to my knowledge, is the most muscle ups we've ever seen in a non-partition fashion straight through in the games ever, as best as I can remember. Somebody feel free to correct me on that. That's going to be, at 42 number is going to be very, very interesting. And I think we're going to see a lot of people make some mistakes here because those biceps are going to be destroyed from pulling that sled and flipping that pig. So I think this is going to be a really, really interesting test. It's going to be a really fun one. And I anticipate this being in sort of that sort of fun kind of time domain of like that 10 to 12 minutes, which is a lot of fun for us to see as viewers. So for this one, just what we know so far, A+ Dave Castro. This is an exciting event. Individual event 3 was announced here recently. I can see early on why a lot of people may have their criticisms for individual event 3, which is, as stated, this is all the information we have about it, is a 550-yard sprint for time. So I think a lot of people may be sort of unimpressed by sort of the time domain. It's not really mixed modal. So first and foremost, we don't know what 550 yards of sprinting means. Okay, so they specifically said yards and not meters. So I think it's safe, or it's at least an informed opinion to sort of extrapolate from that. This will probably be performed on a field or some kind of outdoor sort of venue. Probably not like a track, I'm thinking. But regardless, a 550-meter sprint can mean a lot of things. This could be a straight inline sprint. Okay, this could be a race around a short sprint course. This could be a suicide. This could be, on a soccer field, down, back, down, so like, a shuttle sprint of some kind. Really, the possibilities here are endless. But what is exciting about this is we're testing speed, we're testing running, and we're testing speed in a new time domain in sort of a new fashion, right? We've seen the all-out sprints, the cones, or the sprints around the dummies, the hurdle sprints in 2015. We saw them in 2013. The all-out sort of 12 seconds or less all-out sprints, right? But we haven't seen these sprints where it's going to be just a all-out sort of 500-meter row type of effort, where we're going to need you to just completely sell out and you're going to be gassed at the end. I'm super excited for this. I love that it's a different type of test in a different sort of amount of time. It's going to be a different sort of stimulus than we see on pretty much any running workout we've ever seen. I think this is going to more closely resemble the sled pushes from 2014. So I'm super excited for it. And going back to what I was saying for individual event 2, I love this because of the story it's going to tell. This is going to be fast. We're going to be able to cheer on our horses that we're big fans of, and we're going to watch it unfold right in front of us, right? But it's not so lightning quick that we're watching drag races, right? There's going to be a race going on here as we're watching people run, right in that, like, I would imagine minute and a half, like a minute, like a 90-second time frame roughly, which is going to be great as far as watching a race unfold in front of you. So we're 3 events in. We are 2 weeks out from the CrossFit Games. And so far, from what we've observed of the programming, I'm going to go ahead and give Dave Castro a B. But this is very exciting stuff. And we could put, there is a chance, I don't necessarily think we will, but there's a chance we see all 3 of these on the same day, where it's pretty much confirmed at this point that we're going to have 15 events. So we're going to have to start seeing some stuff kind of get mashed in there. Last thing I want to make sure that I talk about here, some we're kind of observing as it unfolds right in front of us. I haven't really said anything about it, but with the announcement of the first event, I want to make sure I talk about CrossFit's virtual games that they're putting on. This is a brand new event. They've never done it before. It sounds like a fun idea. I mean, that's basically what I can really sort of pull out of this. Rich Froning took to social media, I believe it was today, went to the whiteboard and made his first announcement. So their version of the individual event 1 is being juxtaposed to virtual games event 1. And they're programming a 5K row. Not the sexiest event, not the most fun event. If anyone's ever done a 5K row before, it is a test of how long you are emotionally willing to be uncomfortable. I thought it was an interesting program. So if it's sort of going to be this analog of individual event 1, a 5K row is like a 17 to 23 minutes, depending on how fit you are. You could go less, could go more, type of event. And I'm like, is that, my first reaction is that the sort of time domain that we're going to see for this long swim, longer paddle, which would be surprising to me if that was the case. However, virtual games, I think it's a really fun idea. I think I'm going to participate. I like the idea of it. I've done it in the past where I did the CrossFit Games events in my best capacity as they were being announced. So this should be kind of a cool opportunity to have some fun, throw down a little bit. I enjoy pushing myself and kind of getting outside that comfort zone. So it might be kind of fun to sort of feel how those athletes feel, like at the end of 4 days, understand what it feels like to go through 15 events in the heat. I think it's a cool idea. I'm really looking forward to see what else gets announced here. And I think the opportunity to sort of get the community involved in as many ways as possible, I think is generally a good thing. I'm just kind of waiting out to get some more information on this one, but it's pretty exciting. The only thing that seems a little weird is we went from basically the open, team series, and the liftoff, I think is where pretty much our only sort of community online competitions that we saw every year. To now, it seems like CrossFit's really pumping them out. And it's a lot of fun. Sometimes I get a little question like, what am I paying for here? You know, because I'm not going to win. So sometimes with the frequency we've been seeing this now, it feels a little money grabby to me. Not sure how I feel about that, and I'm interested to see sort of what unfolds in the future. We'll talk more about this down the road, but I'm anxiously awaiting seeing what CrossFit Inc. has planned for after the games. One of the things that they really liked hitting on, Dave Castro, Eric Rosa, they really were talking about when they sort of took over and started making their changes to the new games format, was now we're going to have a real legitimate off season. We're not going to have all these competitions that are required of the athletes in that sanctionals model. They're really going to get this 6-month period that they can have the opportunity to play with and create these opportunities, maybe for the professional athletes, maybe for the everyday athletes. So with that being said, what we've seen like the last 2 weeks sort of unfold from the CrossFit Games is exciting stuff. I love that Dave Castro is putting so much out there and announcing so much for us, getting me riled up. I am so freaking excited for this year, beside myself with excitement. So that being said, give me a short one today, guys. For those of you that listen, thank you for listening. This is obviously not the sort of ideal format, but just appreciate you guys jumping on board for me to do my best impersonation of Arm & Hammer. I'm actually sort of detecting a little bit of weird voice inflection that I'm developing that's very similar to his. Maybe I need to listen a little bit less to his stuff because I'm sort of adopting his cadence. Anyway, let me know, what do you guys think of the individual events? Am I wrong? Are you excited? Do you hate the events? Let me know. Give us a rating, give us a review, give us a follow on social media. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody.